Hey, welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. You probably can't see it. Let me see if I can show it to you. There are a bazillion tadpoles in here. That's we call it the holding pond. The water comes out of the house. It's an off-grid house. Most of you know that. Comes out of our kitchen. Woo! Gray water system, and then flows into this pond, into which we're trying to grow cattails and to kind of help clean that water, and then it flows from there into our lovely lush pond back here. That drives me crazy. So hey, the purpose of this channel is to inspire you, to motivate you, to encourage you to take steps to become less dependent on the system, right? To be able to do more for yourself, to be prepared for what's coming down the pike, as I like to phrase it. And every now and then I get hater comments, people who say, oh yeah, that's easy for you, blah, 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 or they make some disparaging comment, because mostly they're just Christ haters, I think. But that is the purpose of this channel. And I did get one comment sent to me the other day, and it said words to the effect of, Pastor Joe's been doing this for 30 years and he expects people to get right on it now and it's impossible, or something like that. Yeah, you can't get where I am, most of you, in the next 2 weeks. You can't get where I am in the next 2 months, really. But man, you could get close in the next 6 months if you threw yourself straight at it. I mean, close, right? We're living off grid. I don't have electricity or water coming onto the property. We're catching rainwater in this very rudimentary, ugly system back there. I'm building a guest outhouse back there somewhere, if you can see it. We got chickens. You could do chickens. Do you know my wife, the first chickens we got, we were living in a foreign country in the capital city, and she went to where the illegal immigrants of that country lived, which, you know, you think homeless looks bad here, you should see it in the third world. And she bought a couple chickens, came home, found some trash on the side of the road to make a coop out of, and next thing you know, we've got chickens and eggs and then little chicks eventually. It's just willpower. It's mindset. It's, do you want to do it or don't you? And yeah, things take time, but having an attitude of, well, the world's going to end in 2 weeks, so I might as well not even start. Do you know how many times I thought we were on the brink of chaos and everything ended up working out okay? Many times, right? And so you have to live kind of a two stage, not stage, what's the word I'm looking for? You have to keep your mind focused in two places, near and far. You know, when we teach handgun shooting, we tell people, you know, you got three things that you're looking at, right? Your rear sight, your front sight, and the target. But your eye can only focus on one thing at a time. And so what do? You can't be bouncing your eye back and forth while you're trying to shoot your handgun. You focus on your front sight. And so you focus on that, but you're aware of your rear sight and you're aware of the target. Well, it's the same thing. You can really only focus your efforts on one thing at a time, but you got to be aware of everything else. And so, yeah, you should be ready to deal with the catastrophe right now, and you should be ready for a long-term situation, and you should be ready for absolutely nothing horrible to happen at all. I don't live this way because I'm getting ready for World War III. I live this way because it's a better way to live. I'm a lot calmer. I feel a lot more in control of what I eat and what I do, and you know, those kinds of things than I did when I worked in a cubicle. And at the same time, it's setting the family up more and more for preparedness. But it does take time, and it takes time to get, you know, to like where we are. We're blessed, right? And I realize we're blessed. But it didn't happen all by itself, you know, and it took time and it took effort. And guess what? you can invest the same kind of time and effort. It's just, where do you want to put your priorities? I get comments frequently, which is kind of funny because I'm like, why are you watching a prepper video channel and then making a comment like this? Well, I wouldn't want to live my life in fear like that. So your perception of preparedness, or people who are preparing, is that we live our lives in fear. And why are you watching this channel again? I like dudes with beards. I don't know. I'm not living in fear. I'm living in happiness, right? I'm happy about the things we get to do. I'm happy about how we live. And I've always been happy. You know, I lived in the suburbs. I lived in the suburbs for most of my 20 years in the military. I quit living on post early because I didn't like that. But, you know, you live right outside the post, you're in the suburbs, man. But we still did things. We grew gardens and raised chickens where we could, and, you know, went camping and built bobs, stored water, stored food. You know, we did all the things. You can do all the things. Now, you can't necessarily do all the things and still do all the things you do now. You know, I always use the example of going to Cabo. Yeah, you can go to Cabo. You can buy a bass boat, or you can buy more food and a rifle for your wife. You know, I mean, most of us aren't made out of money, right? So it's when you buy something, something else doesn't get bought. Does that make sense? So priorities, right? Where are you going to put them? We have focused most of our life on preparedness things, and we've made it our life, we've made it our lifestyle, and we enjoy it. It's, you know, what we do. And so to the degree that you want or don't want to do that is the degree of preparedness level to which you're going to rise. Most of us cannot afford to buy preparedness. We're going to have to do things on our own, investing time and sweat and effort and, you know, invest yourself. You know, you hear people say invest in yourself. Well, you have to invest yourself. And you do that by getting up out from behind that computer and getting out there and getting on it. How's your garden? How's your garden? My wife did a video recently, and she said something, again, along the lines of, you know, how can you call yourself a prepper if you don't have a garden? I agree. There is no excuse for nobody not to have something growing to eat. And the poorer you are, the more you need a garden, right? Because our food bills are a huge part of what most of us pay money for, especially if you have a larger family. You should be producing your own food, and you should be working at that until you get to the point where you're producing almost all of your own food. You know, I get it. You want to eat a salmon steak or something, and, you know, salmon doesn't grow in Missouri. Okay, you're going to have to buy one. But for the most part, you should be able to raise what you're eating. And that starts out with something simple like gardening. Get out there and garden. It's not too late to start your garden. Some places, northern tier, it's just getting to be time to start a garden, right? So get out there and do that, because, and I've said this before, but I am talking about investing time and investing yourself. You can't just buy a hoe and a shovel and one of those $99 number 10 cans full of seeds, your survival garden in a can, and think you're good to go. Matter of fact, I dare you to take one of those and go feed yourself with it. You're going to learn a lot, but learning takes time in this case. So I encourage you, get out there, start doing things. You know, what's your fitness level like? How far can you walk? I used to run 100-mile races, and people go, 100 miles? I wouldn't even want to drive 100 miles. You know, I couldn't go that long. Or it was an interesting mind switch that happened to me, because I was like that too when I first got introduced to them. And suddenly, how far didn't matter anymore. Like how far the race is. Like right now, the idea if somebody said, hey Joe, you want to go run a 1,000-mile race? That doesn't bug me. 100-mile race, 200-mile race. It doesn't bug me, because it's not a matter of how far. It's a matter of how much time. How much time do you have? Well, it's kind of like that with preparedness. it's not a matter of trying to get like I am, off-grid neo-pioneer. It's a matter of just putting in the time. 1 foot in front of another, and pretty soon you're going to have gone a long way. But you got to get out there on the course, and you got to put 1 foot in front of another. You can't sit there and read magazines and dream about it. You can't watch YouTubes and think, yeah, when the time comes, I'll do that. You actually have to start doing it. As a friend of mine, pastor, says, you got to put your hand to the plow. So, don't get discouraged by, the little my wife and I have accomplished. And I realize, hey, compared to where we were 8 years ago, this is huge. But compared to where I want to go, this is like rock bottom. One man's ceiling is another man's floor. But certainly don't get discouraged by it. Start working on your own plan. Start working on your own steps. Start taking steps to be prepared. Start taking action so that you and those you care about, your circle, however big that is, are prepared to make a go of it without a whole lot of outside positive intervention. Take what you can use, discard the rest. If you hate my gutter and my rinky-dink rain collection system, build a better one. I'm getting ready to build a better one. My friend and brother at Off-Grid Victory, it's a channel, he has an awesome water collection shower sink system that I'm basically going to steal the idea of and try and incorporate it here. I'm not jealous of them. I'm like, that's cool. I want to do that too. And so that's what I hope you all do. Be encouraged. Take the long view, take the short view. Keep your eye moving a little bit. But if you want to get anything done of import, you do got to focus on the long view. All right, I hope that was helpful. I'll see you out there.